The shocking differences between Catherine, the Princess of Wales, and Meghan Markle have just been exposed in glorious detail.
Every time, Meghan tried to outshine Catherine. 8 years of receipts. Saturday, May 19, 2018, St. George's Chapel, Windsor. The dress was Givenchy, Claire Waite Keller, Silk Katie, a train so long it needed 5 children to carry it. 7 years earlier, at Westminster Abbey, Catherine had walked down a different aisle. McQueen lace, long sleeves, 9-foot train. The press that same week was already drawing the lines. That was the first time. It was not the last. What you are about to watch is 8 years of the same move.
It's horrible what Meghan has done. And I just feel really sad for the monarchy at times, because I know that's what Meghan has in her sight, to do things to people like Catherine. Things that came out in that book, about calling them racist. Like, she takes the most egregious thing you can say about a person.
8 separate moments when the Princess of Wales had something: a trip, a project, a public win, and the Duchess of Sussex, within months, sometimes within weeks, did something that looked an awful lot like it.
I wonder if you feel that as Meghan tries harder, actually, as we can see in those contrasting imagery, it's actually Catherine who comes out stronger, because she's not trying to be anything other than someone who is there for the public, her subjects.
Royal commentators have a word for it. Tom Quinn used it in a book published last year. Kinsey Schofield used it on GB News in 2023. Jane Barr put it in a headline that went viral in February. Tom Sykes, in the Daily Beast last week, used the same word in a different sentence. 4 royal commentators. One word, 8 years apart. The word is fixation, 8 years of receipts. Some you remember, some you may have missed. The 8th one happened 9 days ago and ends with a phone call to a wedding she has not been invited to. Let's count them. Within 24 hours of the Sussex ceremony, every broadsheet on Fleet Street was running the same comparison. Catherine's 2011 Alexander McQueen gown by Sarah Burton versus Meghan's 2018 Givenchy by Claire Waite Keller. Side by side, sleeve by sleeve, tiara by tiara.
This woman was getting a wedding far bigger and more elaborate than they even deserved. The Queen wanted her to have something small, but no, she wanted all the bells and whistles, but then she was totally rude about everything.
The verdict, by general press consensus that week and in the months that followed, gave the edge to Catherine. The fashion industry coverage on Fashionista, the broadsheet features in the Daily Mail and Telegraph, the Wikipedia record of the wedding dress reception. Most of them landed in the same place. Catherine, in the word that was used repeatedly, was treated as the victor. A bride does not control how the press ranks her dress against another bride 7 years earlier. But the comparison happened the same week, and the pattern of the next 8 years would suggest that whatever room Meghan walked into, Catherine had walked into a version of it first.
Meghan continues to try and cosplay Catherine. Now, we've rumbled it, we see it, but it shows that she is obsessed with this woman who she still views as her biggest rival in the world.
October 12th, 2018. 5 months later, Princess Eugenie, Jack Brooksbank, their wedding day. Eugenie had invited hundreds of guests months in advance. The couple had been planning the wedding for over a year. It was Eugenie's moment, and it was the day Meghan and Harry chose to privately tell the family that Meghan was pregnant.
And we remember, don't we, Tash, what they did at one of the princesses' wedding, revealed the fact that they were expecting, so totally overshadowed.
Weeks pregnant, no one would have known, but they decided to do it then and there. Of course she
Exactly,
did.
so it's not even like the other type of people that you really want at a wedding. But it's not that that's what this is about, though. It's a message from the family. You are not welcome. We side with William and Catherine. It's clear.
3 days later, the palace announced it publicly. Sarah Ferguson, Eugenie's mother, did not comment publicly at the time. Her silence was the comment. The press got the story anyway, because the press always gets the story. The Sussex side has always said this was not a deliberate spotlight steal, that Meghan and Harry were genuinely excited and shared the news within family. The Mirror reported the announcement and the timing. Daily Mail coverage focused on the family's silence.
Princesses Eugenie and Beatrice are close with their cousins. Regardless of the turmoil that's obviously going on with the fallout with Andrew and Fergie, and whether they have been involved and haven't been involved, they're incredibly close with Sarah. They're incredibly close with Peter Phillips. You often see them going to Monaco and the Grand Prix together. That family is incredibly close, So yeah, for them to turn around and say, oh, well, Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie are trying to go, you've seen the media try and spin it. And it's this storyline again. And I'm so sick of this narrative of poor Harry and Meghan. They've been cruelly maligned. They've been ostracized. The poor little things have have done nothing wrong. They've done a hell of a lot wrong, to be fair. And the fact that they've still got those titles, I think the family are still going fairly easy on them. I know it's not the easiest thing to strip that involves Parliament, but they have really, really taken the piss out of that family, out of Queen Elizabeth, out of the generosity of the royal family.
Over at the Royal Observer, a piece appeared in defense of the Sussex side, titled, "Why Harry and Meghan Revealed Pregnancy at Eugenie's Wedding." No, it wasn't to steal the spotlight. The International Business Times ran a separate report under a headline calling Ferguson's reaction a fiery riposte. The timing is the timing. Eugenie's Day got a 5-day news cycle of Sussex baby coverage on top of it. May 20th, 2018, The Telegraph reported a story that has been argued about ever since. That the day before the Sussex wedding, at a fitting at Kensington Palace, Meghan made Catherine cry over Princess Charlotte's bridesmaid dress.
What's this now? That Kate was left in tears, apparently at a bridesmaid's dress fitting for Charlotte.
Meghan's 2021 Oprah interview said the reverse. Her version, Catherine made her cry, and had apologized later with a card and flowers.
The reverse happened. It made me cry, and it really hurt my feelings. And I thought in the context of everything else that was going on in those days leading to the wedding, it was a really hard week of the wedding. And she was upset about something, but she owned it and she apologized and she brought me flowers and a note apologizing. What was hard to get over was being blamed for something that not only I didn't do, but that happened to me. And the people who were part of our wedding going to our comms team and saying, I know this didn't happen.
For years, it was he said, she said. Two memoirs gave two versions. Both sides angry, and before anyone says, well, both versions are out there, Spare said one thing, Finding Freedom said another. Hold on, because Tom Quinn's 2025 book did the work that mattered. Quinn spoke to royal staff. He published the synthesis, and he named his source, a Kensington Palace staffer who was in the building. The line that puts the fight to rest, quote, "The truth is that during the discussions about the bridesmaid's dress, Meghan said a few things she regretted, and Kate said a few things she later regretted, but it was all in the heat of the moment. Both women were crying their eyes out."
It's really important for people to understand the truth. I would hope that she would have wanted that corrected. And maybe in the same way that the palace wouldn't let anybody else negate it, they wouldn't let her, because she's a good person. And I think so much of what I have seen play out is this idea of polarity. If you love her, you don't need to hate me.
Tom Quinn. Yes, ma'am. The Secret Life of Royal Servants. Published 2025. Both women were crying. That is the verdict. The version where Meghan was the calm one is over. The version where Catherine was the calm one is over too. They were both in pieces over a 4-year-old's dress in the building. September 2019, British Vogue. Meghan guest edited the September issue. Title, Forces for Change.
Here we were, having tea.
I remember walking into Kensington Palace and I was so excited.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, oh, lovely to meet you. She said, you're like, call me Meghan.
Yeah.
Edward Enninful, the editor-in-chief, called it the fastest-selling issue in the magazine's history.
She was rude, she was difficult, she was demanding, she was unrealistic. But what's interesting is that Edward Enninful was keeping the friendship going despite all of that. But even he could not overlook her terrible behavior.
Too, especially looking at the issue itself. I mean, I'm sure it was one of their best sellers.
8 months later, in May 2020, Catherine launched Hold Still, a national photography project documenting Britain during the first COVID lockdown. Edited by Catherine, foreword by Catherine. Same territory, magazine curated photography under a female royals editorial direction. The same Commonwealth-coded family audience. 2 women, same year, same territory. The receipt is the overlap, not the order.
Please take a moment to capture what life's like for you, because together I hope that we can build a lasting illustration of just how our country pulled together during the pandemic. I can't wait to share the final 100 images with you.
January 2020, the Sandringham Summit. Queen Elizabeth had called the summit herself to negotiate the Sussex step back, the famous Megxit Summit. And here's where royal commentator Kinsey Schofield, 3 years later in 2023 on GB News with Mark Dolan, said a sentence on national television that nobody made her say. Meghan really kind of fixated on what the Princess of Wales, the Duchess of Cambridge at the time, Kate Middleton, and Meghan trying to have something of similar value.
Meghan really kind of fixated on what the Princess of Wales, the Duchess of Cambridge at the time, Kate Middleton had, Meghan trying to have something of similar value. And I think that, Meghan was a princess that wanted a castle, and, she was denied, and I don't necessarily think that was the wrong decision.
Kinsey Schofield, GB News, 2023. The word she used was fixated, not jealous, not competitive, fixated on national broadcast, 3 years after Sandringham. This is the part that should bother you most, because Schofield is not a Daily Mail comment section. She is not a Sussex Squad antagonist. She has covered this family from Los Angeles for over a decade, interviewed both sides, and used the word fixated on a broadcast that GB News still has up on YouTube 3 years later. When the commentary class, the people who get paid to be careful with their words, start landing on the same word, that is not coincidence. That is a pattern that has stopped pretending. And the next 3 entries did not stop the pattern. They sharpened it.
Meghan, definitely don't get me wrong, on lots of the other, shall we say, obsessions, it's things that she has really evilly actually sort of made seep into his mind, like thoughts that he never had, right, over many, many years. For example, things in terms of the relationship with William or how he really felt about his mother.
March 22nd, 2024. The Princess of Wales had been diagnosed with cancer. Kensington Palace released a video address that afternoon, recorded at Adelaide Cottage. The world watched. The family closed ranks. It was the moment the country, including most of the press that had spent years on either side of this rivalry, stopped.
Princess Kate has finally revealed where she's been the past few months, privately battling cancer. But even this very public admission wasn't enough to quell the whinings of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex.
The Sussex camp issued a statement the same day. We wish health and healing for Kate and the family. Royal correspondent Richard Fitzwilliams reported what followed in Time magazine. Fitzwilliams said this: Harry and Meghan learnt of the diagnosis from the news.
Harry and Meghan immediately told People magazine that the pair were not informed of the Princess of Wales's diagnosis, adding that they are being left out of any details regarding Kate and that there's clearly no trust. I wonder why. Harry and Meghan did release a statement wishing the princess well.
The brothers reportedly haven't been in contact for months, and trust has completely broken down. The Princess of Wales would go on to complete chemotherapy in September of that year. On January 14, 2025, she announced remission in a post on Instagram, written from a visit to the Royal Marsden Hospital in London. The phrase she used was, "It is a relief to now be in remission, and I remain focused on recovery." That is where this entry ends. February 2025. With love, Meghan, the Netflix lifestyle show. Meghan in a country kitchen. Floral arrangements, cookery, hosting friends, aesthetic, warm, soft lit, family forward.
I think Meghan Markle's team were trolling her with this insane holiday special. Absolutely do not try any of these crafts or recipes at home unless you also want to have a nervous breakdown. The Independent, with love, Meghan, holiday celebration review. Not fun, enjoyable, or even aspirational. The Guardian, with love, Meghan, holiday celebration review. Take anti-nausea pills. She's back. She literally skips through a Christmas tree farm, serves food that looks like animal droppings, and cooks a meal that Prince Harry hates. Assume the crash position before watching. The Telegraph, joyless and fake. What a strange person Meghan is.
Royal watching writer Jane Barr, whose Substack column From Berkshire to Buckingham covers this beat, published a piece in February. The headline, in her own words, was, "With love, Meghan is the ultimate copycat." Her case, the Carol Middleton party pieces, aesthetic Meghan was channeling. A country cottage frame Catherine's family had built a business on. August warm light timing. Even, Barr noted, the lemon elderflower coated baking.
They know they're on camera, so they're trying to act normal, but they think acting normal is looking around the house smiling all the time, just sitting around by yourself going,
They're trying to act normal, but they also want to look good.
Yeah, and so that's what's happening. And that's what she's doing the entire time.
Meghan, according to Royal Insider reporting that same month, was furious about the copying claims. A Sussex source told Royal Insider that doesn't own Christmas. That is one way to respond to the accusation. The other way is to make a show that does not feel like Carol Middleton's living room.
I did think it was cute to see them. I can't believe I'm saying this. I just almost vomited in my own mouth. But I did think that their height difference was cute in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Harry and Meghan's. I was like, oh, that's a cute little height difference. But you know what? She is still a
Geneva last week, May 13th and 14th, 2026. Catherine in Reggio Emilia, Italy. First major solo overseas trip since her cancer treatment. The mayor of Reggio Emilia, Marco Massari, awarded her the city's highest civic honor.
Now, of course, unfortunately for the Sussexes, Catherine's trip was wildly popular. There were literally people hanging out of balconies like a scene from Romeo and Juliet. You know, Caterina, entire villages shut down, streets thronged. Now, the Place des Nations was not thronged yesterday. That is one thing I can tell you for sure. There were perhaps even more people attending a rally earlier in the day.
The Primo Tricolore. Children at a Reggio Emilia preschool chanted, "Kate, Kate." A newt crawled on her hand. She made tortelli with grandmothers. Her Italian held up well enough that when a well-wisher complimented her, she said, "I need to practice my Italian." The teacher, Roberta Marzi, told reporters she asked them some simple questions, but her Italian was perfect. She spoke clearly. 3 days later, May 17th, Geneva, Place des Nations. Meghan delivered a speech at the World Health Organization Lost Screen Memorial. Royal commentator Tom Sykes was in Geneva. He filed his copy from the ground.
There were like 50 invited guests, I would say. You know, they were kind of the ministers of random, the Brazilian health minister. I mean, you know, they weren't like, didn't seem like a particularly starry crowd, let's put it that way. And another kind of 50 people watching round the edge. The event has had almost no pickup in the global media, to be really honest. There was virtually no other international journalists had traveled there.
It didn't seem like a particularly starry crowd, let's put it that way. Sykes, on the same podcast, told his royalist audience that the entire Geneva trip had been structured to recover from the Australian catastrophe. He was referring to the Sussex April 2026 tour. He saw Geneva as the next page of the same playbook.
One hastens to use the word rebrand with Meghan because there's so many rebrands, but I think there's no doubt really now that the Australia tour was an absolute disaster. I mean, you know, the polling that came out of it was so brutal. And I think that clearly that, you know, people did not like the mixing of the commerce with the service. Incidentally, Queen Elizabeth could have told them this 10 years ago, right?
The night before, an Instagram post we covered on Monday in detail. Go watch that one if you haven't. Sykes' verdict on the post itself in his Daily Beast column. Staggeringly tone deaf. 4 days apart, Italy chanted her name. Geneva, by the man who was there, called a not particularly starry crowd. That was last week. That is entry 8 on a list that 8 years ago this month started with a wedding dress. 8 years, 8 moments. Every one of them, the Princess of Wales had a moment first or had a moment alongside it, and the Duchess of Sussex, within weeks or months, did something that royal commentators, in increasing numbers, have started calling the same word. St. George's Chapel, May 2018, was the first wedding. The next family wedding is 2 weeks from today, June 6th, 2026. All Saints Church, Kemble. Peter Phillips, the late Queen's eldest grandchild, marries Harriet Spurling. According to Hello Magazine's exclusive reporting from this month, Harry and Meghan are not on the guest list.
The fact that the royals are briefing directly to the Sun that the king wanted Beatrice and Eugenie to be there and wanted them to remain part of the family is obviously like a dagger in the heart to Harry and Meghan, who are desperately trying to get back into the fold.
It's crazy, Dan, that they're not invited just sends such a strong message as to where the younger royals stand on this issue, which is that I think especially the older generation, so we're talking, you know, Peter and Zara, who are closer in age to Harry and William, in particular William, and the three of them are quite close, are looking at Harry and Meghan going, we just don't want any part of this dog and pony show that you two offer. This is going to be a happy occasion, and if Harry and Meghan are there, it's not a happy occasion anymore. It's stressful, it's tense.
Royal correspondent Emily Andrews on the Catching Up with the Royals podcast. Peter probably didn't invite Harry and Meghan because it's too problematic. 8 years of trying to walk a Princess of Wales's path, and the next family wedding she is not invited to is in 2 weeks. That is the pattern, that is the receipt. The next move is hers. Drop your verdict in the comments. 8 years of pattern. Is it coincidence, ambition, or fixation? I read every single one. Hit the like button if this video helped you see the 8 years differently. It genuinely helps this channel reach more people who care about how the royal family is being told. And subscribe, there is a lot more coming this week. The next chapter ships Wednesday. We will be looking at the Peter Phillips wedding from the other side. Who is on the guest list? What the seating chart tells us about where the family has landed in 2026. And what the King's office did this past March that nobody outside the palace gates has noticed yet. You will want to be here.